What's up, everybody? Welcome to a new video. In today's video, we're going to go ahead and talk about this Canva conflict that has been going around. In my last video, I posted a video here about creating outlines in Canva. And I had maybe about 5 to 6 comments, which for some reason they're all gone now. I could go ahead and, hold on. I could go ahead and look here. They're all gone. I'm not sure where they were. I know some of you commented where you were asking about this issue that had arose within Canva. And the issue derives from a Facebook post that was created by someone with the name of Joe Petzer, okay? And Joe Petzer is a community ambassador within Canva's Facebook group, okay? They're a moderator. I'm not sure if they actually are an employee of Canva. I'm not sure what their deal is, but I do not think they are, or this person is a employee. I don't think they're actually getting paid to do what they're doing. I just think that they run their business somehow with Canva. They are a Canva mockup designer, so maybe they're a contractor, and they created a sort of post here that relates to what you can do and what you cannot do with Canva. Now, what I want to say with all of this is I want to outline the concept here. And the concept is that this person is a creator on Canva, and they are not a owner of Canva. They are not a decision maker at Canva, okay? Because the post that this person created is, I guess you could say, quite polarizing to some people, all right? And a lot of people are confused, and we're going to go ahead and lay down the law with this video. Now, something that I will say is I could very well be incorrect after my opinion, but I'm going to base my opinion based on evidence through the Canva's website, which we're going to go ahead and explain. So it says here, selling digital products, Canva's terms explained, all right? Let's go ahead and read it. There seems to be a mass confusion in reference to selling digital products. So once again, guys, it says here selling digital products. All right. There seems to be a massive confusion or blissful ignorance on how Canva can be commercially used. Before we clarify what what you can and cannot do with Canva when it comes to basic reselling, let's understand some basic terms. It says personal use. Any design created solely for your own use. No template link is being shared with anyone. No selling of this design is happening. Now, let's keep reading. Business use. Any design created only for use in your business to promote your product or your service. So, for example, if you have an Instagram account and you were to create a post using Canva, that's considered business use. No template link is being shared with anyone. No selling of this design is happening. So when they're referring to the template link, okay, you can invite people to edit and to work on a Canva template. So for example, if I was to open up Canva right now and I was to create a square of 5,000 pixels by 5,000 pixels and I'm working on editing it, I can send it to a friend, invite them to Canva, and they can work on that exact same template with me. All right, so that's in reference to the sharing link, all right? Now, also, because they get to export it and do whatever they want with that as well. Okay, commercial use. A design specifically to resell to either a single client or to a public audience. Okay, so that's commercial use. So essentially what you guys are doing with print on demand. All right. Now, once again, I want you to reference this whole message here is referenced to selling digital products. But once again, there's a conundrum because in the next slide, I believe it's this one, they're talking about now print on demand, which now does get a little confusing for the readers because at one point you're talking about digital files and now you're talking about print on demand, which is not necessarily the outcome of a digital file, yet it is printed and it becomes very physical in nature. So let's go ahead and continue reading. Template refers to a design created in Canva where the template link is supplied or sold for access to the design. So what is a template? Once again, this is exactly what I just said, where you have a link within Canva of something that you're editing, and you take that link and sell it to other people, or you transfer it to other people, okay? So if we just go back here, once again, I think this frustration of this creator is coming from the template link. But let's go ahead and continue. Like I said, digital end file, any file format downloaded from a Canva template, including PNG, JPEG, PDF, SVG, MP4, etc. Okay, so that's a digital end file. POD, print on demand. Printing the end file design through a third-party printing hub required upload of a PDF, JPEG, PNG file. Standalone element. So a Canva element is just a photo that is displayed solo in the design. Now, I notice here, it says solo in the design and can be cropped out of the design using a screenshot or extracted from a PDF file used outside of Canva, okay? Altered element. So a Canva element photo that has been substantially altered by layering it with other elements so that it cannot be recognized as the original element or extracted as a standalone element by the screenshot or importing elsewhere, okay? Now, what can you sell? Now, by the way, guys, this is very important because what this determines here, where you have the standalone element and the altered element, okay, is the defining line between what you can and cannot do from a commercial standpoint with Canva. And I'll explain why that matters in just a minute. But here it says, what can you sell? Canva templates that you've created yourself from scratch that contain standalone / unaltered free or pro elements, okay? Once again, it says Canva elements that you've created yourself from scratch that can contain standalone, unaltered, free or pro elements, and or photos where you're supplying a Canva template to your buyer to access and edit the design. So let's just stop right there. In reference to Canva templates, you see people selling these on Etsy all the time, right? Where they give you access to a template, whether it be for a fitness regime of some sort or for a daily planner or something like that. And yes, it has Canva elements in it, right? If you add graphics, let's say you add flowers in it, let's say you add photos in it, whatever, you can sell that. It says right here, you can sell that, right? This is based on this person's opinion, once again, because this is, this is their posting, right? Unless they cite exactly where in the section and the terms that Canva has, they don't show that. But anyways, the second one, any items. This is once again what you can sell. Any items, merchandise or display that you have printed yourself containing altered, free, or pro elements. No standalone elements or photos. So here, once again, there's a conundrum that's being caused, a confusion, because in the moment here you're mentioning what you can sell, and then you're mentioning no standalone elements, because now you're confusing people. What do you mean no standalone elements? Well, let's go back to what a standalone element is, or a photo. Once again, this is a photo that can be cropped or selected, use it, whether it be PDF or through an image, using an outside source outside of Canva. So for example, if I create a t-shirt design and I include a element that has not been changed, right? And that's the only element in my design, right? That can make the difference between the concept of a standalone element and an altered element, because I can create a bunch of Canva standalone elements and smash them all together, and then I can call that a design, because then technically you won't be able to single it out. You won't be able to crop it out. So once again, guys, with legal stuff, there's always these things that you could do. And I'm no lawyer, all right? So that's kind of like your disclaimer. So don't listen to me, do your own research. But you can always do a play on words of what exactly you mean, okay? Because let's just be honest. If I took 15 to 10 Canva elements, I smashed them all together, right? And I did no editing to them. And I made it very hard for you to crop out a single portion of it, okay? And I printed it out on a product. This person, based on what they're saying, they would say, no, it's not allowed. But the reality is they wouldn't be able to solo crop it just like they state here for standalone element, right? Now, Something that I also will say is the concept of the standalone element, what I believe to be, is when you are taking that element and selling it solely by itself. Because there has been mixed opinions on what a standalone element truly is in reference to what you're selling, because that's what actually matters today, right? You want to figure out, am I allowed to use Canva Pro commercially for print on demand? Okay, or Canva just in general for print on demand. I have the Pro version, but it doesn't really matter. Canva Pro, whatever. Let's just continue, right? It says any items that you have printed yourself containing altered, free, or pro elements. No standalone elements or photos. Now, the reason why I think that this is a little confusing, once again, is the stipulation of printed yourself containing altered or free pro elements. What if it was printed by somebody else? Am I all of a sudden not allowed to sell it anymore, or allowed to have it anymore, right? And notice this is reference to what you can sell, right? So I can sell a hat printed, right, containing altered, free, or pro elements. Now, something that I will say is it does not say here altered pro elements. It says altered, free, or pro elements. Correct grammar would state, if there was a requirement or stipulation on pro elements, it would say altered, free, or altered pro. It does not say that. It says altered, free, or pro elements. So, based on this alone, if we were to read this alone, that would mean any pro seller can use a pro graphic or pro element, make absolutely no edit to it, and print it out and sell it. Why? Because it says here you can sell, and it says altered, free, or pro. It does not say altered pro. That's a huge difference, and that's very, very important to understand, because the play on words makes all the difference. And you can't just tell somebody, oh, well, we assumed that you understood the meaning of that. You can't do that, because like I said, a proper grammar class would state that if you want to stipulate and say that altered pro elements, right, is not allowed, then you would have to say the word altered before the word pro. It is not assumed here. Here it says altered, free, or pro. Okay, so that means I'm allowed to say a sell altered, free element or a pro element. No standalone elements or photos. Let's go ahead and continue. And once again, this is a hypocrisy to include altered, free, or pro elements and then say no standalone elements or photos. Because if it's altered, then it can be standalone by reference, right? Because if standalone is read in a way of saying solo, meaning it's only by itself, right? Then that is what's the confusion there? So are we allowed to have standalone, or are we not allowed to have standalone? Okay? What can you sell? This is once again a digital end file containing altered, free elements. Okay? So if you alter the free elements, okay, then you can sell it as a digital end file. Well, here's the confusion once again, okay? If you alter the element, don't you have to re-upload it to Canva? How can it then be checked if it's a free element or a paid element? At that moment, it's just a normal PNG file off of the basis of Canva's control. Because the only way that we can actually alter it is do some graphic change to it, not just a simple color change, right? We would have to do some graphical change outside of the bounds that Canva can produce, right? Here it says unique once flattened end file designs containing free or pro elements, photos to a single client. Okay, unique one-off flattened end file. So we're not even going to talk about this, the flattened end file, because this is in reference to a PDF, an image for social media, etc. Let's go ahead and jump into what you cannot sell from this person's explanation. Canva templates from Canva's library, even if you've chained them. So Canva templates from Canva's library, even if you change them, you can't sell it, all right? Digital end files containing standalone free elements. So once again, if you were to have a photo or an element by itself from Canva with no editing, no changing, and put that as the only design, you cannot sell that as a file, all right? Digital end files containing any pro elements or photos whatsoever. So, you cannot sell any pro element as a digital end file. It does not state here that you can't sell it as a print-on-demand product, right? As a physical product. It says as a digital end file. Digital end files and printed-on-demand products are two completely different things. Now, a print-on-demand product does require a digital end file, but a digital end file, right, is not the same thing as a print-on-demand product. So, in the event, if you have a pro element, you do no editing to it whatsoever, and you print it on a physical product, right, then you are technically, from what I'm getting here, you are allowed to put it on a t-shirt. You're allowed to put it on a hoodie. You're allowed to put it on whatever. But it also states that digital end files containing any pro elements whatsoever, you cannot sell them, right? But from this stipulation, somebody can say, well, you can transfer them. You can't sell them, but you could transfer them, right? That's what I'm saying, trying to pull here from this video, is that this is not policy structure. And that's why we're actually going to jump into Canva's policies to truly understand what's going on here. Here it says logos or trademarks containing any Canva elements or photos, right? So a logo or a trademark containing any Canva elements or photos. So if you were to create a logo, right, and you were to add some Canva elements within the logo, this, based on what this says, it says even if I edit them, I can't have them included. Even if I change and distort the way they look, I can't have them included. Well, that's not reasonable. That's not a reasonable statement to make, because if I take, for example, and I'll use the example that I believe one of them used, is if I take a wreath, okay, and I create this wreath by creating a circle, and then I add leaves to it. Now that circle with the leaves to it are completely different design, right, than what the circle was alone and what the leaves were alone, and they're both Canva elements. So once again, and I use it as a logo, how would you be able to decipher or say that it came specifically from Canva? You wouldn't be able to. So once again, this is all, there's not enough description behind this text. Let's go ahead and continue. What can't you sell? POD, print-on-demand items and merchandise creating with any of Canva's content. So this is I guess you could say a blanket statement here that you cannot sell any item or merchandise with any of Canva's content. But if we go over here and we look, right, when we said what can you sell, it says any items, merchandise that you've printed yourself containing altered or free pro elements or altered free or pro elements, no standalone elements. So this is in complete disagreement with this, right? They're complete disagreements. Why? Because it says you cannot sell any print-on-demand merchandise of Canva's content, any whatsoever. But yet, right here, like I just said, it says any items that you've printed yourself containing free or so here it creates a stipulation saying yes, you can have merchandise, right, printed, and you can sell it. Then it says here you cannot do any whatsoever. Isn't that kind of confusing? Doesn't that kind of not give a clear answer as to what is actually going on? Now, once again, just because this was approved in a Canva Facebook group doesn't mean that the person approving it or the person creating it has legal understanding of what can and cannot be done. And I also want you guys to understand from the situation that this person is a mock-up creator, meaning they create elements for Canva. And maybe, just maybe, and I'm not saying that this is something wrong or right, but maybe this person was dealing with an individual or many individuals who was maybe reselling their mock-ups, and they went to that person and told them, take it down, you can't do that, etc. But with all due respect, I don't think this person knows what they're talking about when it comes to print on demand. And to also share this sentiment, there are other people in the comments who are stating the exact same thing. So this person here called Livum, whatever his name is, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name. He says, to be honest, I don't think that Joe knows what she's talking about here. And Joe is the person who created this, right? No offense. And if someone really needs to go the extra mile, they should discuss with a lawyer. Now, in my opinion, Canva terms and conditions related to their original pro designs is totally unethical. You can find the pro elements being sold on FreePick, right? And to be clear, guys, FreePick is where Canva gets their elements. Let's be clear about that. Canva gets their elements from FreePick, and people take those elements and sell them on Adobe Stock and other websites. So this person is incorrect here about this. All right, these designs don't belong to Canva, and most probably Canva bought them. Related to being sued, good luck to proving Canva that your part of the design belongs to them. I've seen how good they are when it comes to protecting their assets. I've reported a user who was selling students accounts, and guess what? They are still doing it. So basically what they're saying, what he's saying here, is that if you report to Canva that, there's a problem, somebody's selling your assets, whatever, he said they haven't done anything about it because there's other people doing the exact same thing. I reported a user who was selling student accounts, and guess what? They are still doing it. It took Canva support almost a month to remove me from the illegally sold subscription, which I bought on Etsy, thinking it was a cool promotion. Reported it to Etsy, and the seller is still selling it. I don't believe in copyright. That's what I pay for Pro. Joe should be more careful when it comes to such posts. So this person is coming from an emotional standpoint. I totally understand. But I also can agree that I don't think that this person knows fully the legal aspect of this. Now, I'm not no lawyer, but let's go ahead and continue about what I'm talking about in reference to print on demand. Because at the end of the day, that's what we all care about. We care about print on demand. So let's go ahead and continue. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to call your attention to the licensing area, okay? Because here we're talking about free and this is in reference to the license agreement, meaning when you sign up for an account, what are you legally allowed to do? What is your license? What is your approval? What is your statute essentially of limitations? What can you do and what you cannot do? Let's go ahead and go over that. So we're not going to read the whole thing, but what we are going to do is we're going to go over piece by piece. And I wanted to go over here and first tackle this section here. The permitted uses of all content on Canva except Pro Music. Obviously, if we're doing print on demand, Pro Music is irrelevant to us. All right, let's go ahead and look. One of the things that is permitted use of Canva content is for prints, posters, and other reproductions for personal or promotional purposes, also including resale purposes, license, or other distribution. So right here, right there, this statement right here, section 5, line 8, or number 8, is a direct, I guess you could say, an argument with this exact post. Okay? This exact post is in direct argument with this whole Facebook thing. The reason why I say that is because it states it. It states it right here in the policies behind Canva.com. This is not made by some other random person. This is an approved policy behind Canva.com. Now, some of you might say, well, what if the policies on the website are outdated, right? What if they're outdated? Well, I'll tell you and I'll prove to you that they are not outdated. I'll go ahead and scroll down here, and we're going to take a look at what you're not allowed to do. And one of the things that you're not allowed to do, right, prohibited uses, on number 14, it states use content for any machine learning or artificial intelligence purposes. Well, artificial intelligence purposes, or artificial intelligence in general, is a recent, I guess you could say, phenomenon, right? Artificial AI for us humans is a recent thing. So to prove that, this goes ahead and gives evidence to the fact that this statement here shows, right, that this is recent, okay, and it has been recently updated. It has been added to. So if the facts in this Canva post were true, if it was true that you cannot use designs for print on demand, right, then it would be told here. It would be said print on demand. Well, let's go ahead and see what you cannot do in the prohibited uses. Is print on demand mentioned? Is selling mentioned? What is mentioned here? So let's go ahead and search the word sell. The word sell is used once in this prohibited section for Canva, okay? Free or pros Canva. And here we have also violations of license. We also have prohibited use on font software. And then here we have overall on Canva. Let's go ahead and go over that. The first one, sublicense, resell, rent, lend, assign, gift, or otherwise distribute the content or rights granted under this content license agreement and subject to Section 4A. Now, here, this is a very, I guess you could say, a vague statement, right? It says sub-license, resell, rent. What are we talking about here? Are we talking about the content on Canva? Because here it says you definitely can't do these things with any free or pro content. Or are we talking about with a Canva account? But here, like I said, it says very specifically free or pro content. So I can't resell free content or pro content on Canva. I can't take a image on Canva and resell it. I can't lease it to somebody, I can't rent it to somebody, I can't let somebody use it, etc. Okay? Sublicense, resell, rent, lend, assign, gift, or otherwise. So I can't take any elements from Canva, any photos, anything like that, and give it to somebody else, whether it be for free or paid. I can't do that because it says gift here. All right? So then it's a little more clear. Well, let's go ahead and get more contextualization around what we're talking about. It's a subject section 4A. So let's go ahead and scroll up to section 4A, right? And if we go to 4A, it says you might transfer a Canva design containing content, free or pro, to a client for client's own use, subject to the following terms. So you may transfer Canva's design containing content, free or pro. It says you may design. Let's go ahead and break this down because I don't want to make any mistakes here. Okay, you may transfer a Canva design. Okay, so this is in reference to transferring Canva designs, but we're not transferring Canva designs here, right? We're solely concerned with taking our design and selling it, right? Through print on demand, meaning if I have a Shopify store, I want to create a design, obviously not solely using an image, but just taking that image, maybe adding stuff to the composition, removing stuff, changing things, changing layering, things like that, and then printing it out, right? Once again, from what I'm seeing here and what I'm seeing with the different things that are allowed, I'm not seeing that there's a limitation on that. I think the one thing that set everybody off when they're reading this is there was a section here that was where it says you cannot sell print-on-demand items or merchandise created of any of Canva's content. Now, once again, assuming that we're working with our design, we're creating elements and things like that, this statement doesn't correlate with the statement that I just showed you here in the sections where things are allowed. So permitted uses, where was it here? Permitted uses, and then we have prints, posters, hard copies, and other reproductions for personal, promotional purposes, resale purposes. Resale purposes. It just says it right there. I mean, I can literally create a poster or a print or a hard copy or whatever it is and resell it, right? I can sell it multiple times. And this is permitted use of all content on Canva, except for Pro Music. Once again, Pro Music doesn't really apply here. So let's go ahead and just keep looking here at the prohibited section so we can fully understand if there's anything else we're missing, right? So first, even before we do this, let's go ahead and search print on demand. Print on demand is never mentioned anywhere in the policies for use, for allowed use and not allowed use. And you could see here, I spelled it right. So there was a comment that this person made on Facebook stating, okay, let's go ahead and see what this is here, stating that they pulled the information right from their policies. Well, I'm at their policies, and I literally just searched print on demand, and print on demand doesn't exist here. The word print on demand doesn't exist here. Well, let's look here for on demand, because it actually does say that. So it says, use or display of the content on a standalone basis on websites other than venues designed to induce or involving the sale of license or distribution of demand products, including postcards, mugs, t-shirts, and items. Well, this has exactly related to what we're talking about. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we're talking about here. So let's read this again. Let's break it down. Let's understand it. So this is a prohibited use, okay? And it says here, prohibited use or display of the content on a standalone basis on websites or other venues, introducing or inducing or involving the sale. So here what they're saying is you cannot use a standalone item, right? A standalone element on the basis of a website or any other thing involving a sale. Some of those things include, right, products, postcards, mugs, t-shirts, and other items. Let's just make sure 100%, or involving the sale of license or other distribution of the print-on-demand product. So what they're saying here is that you cannot have a standalone item that is being sold. Now, once again, this statement still is in, I guess you could say, in conflict with the statement made here, where it states that you cannot sell under any circumstance. Where is it here? What you cannot sell: print-on-demand items, merchandise created with any of Canva's content. That's not true. It does not say any. It says stand alone. And that's what makes a big difference here. Meaning, if I was to take elements and mash them together and create a different element, right, and print it out, then I can technically have the permission to sell, because that's what it says right here. The only stipulation is it refers to the standalone elements, okay? So, once again, guys, if you're watching this, if you're listening, all right, this is in reference to standalone items. This post, maybe it wasn't clear, maybe it was written not clearly, I'm not 100% sure, but you can see here that it says any. This is not true, based on what we're seeing here inside the agreement here, all right? So if you're doing this, if you're listening and you're taking elements and you're changing them up, or you're doing something to them that is not in its original. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the assumption that this might be for only pro accounts. And that's not necessarily the case, because we have here a section for additional permitted uses for free content only. Now, free content is in reference to the free accounts, because the only time you would use only free content most of the time is when you have a pro account. Here it says free content has fewer restrictions than pro content, right? So free content, you got to remember, the free content is free because it's under public domain, or it comes from some sort of royalty-free website, such as Pixabay or something like that, which, by the way, what Redbubble does prohibit and other print-on-demand companies do prohibit is using regular free stock photos. You cannot upload them to a print-on-demand platform, at least most of the time, depending on the platform. But it says here, the use of free content is more than one Canva design without obtaining an additional license. Download the free content on a standalone basis. So if you're using free content, you are allowed to download it on a standalone basis, which is different than using the content in a whatever. What was the other basis here? Let me in the Facebook. Let's see here. We have standalone and we have the other one, altered element, right? So we have a standalone element, altered element, right? So what it's saying here is that if you're using a free image, right? If you're using one of the free products, obviously you have to check the license where it comes from. But if you have the license, then it doesn't actually derive from Canva. It's coming from a third party. And that third party can be a website like Pixabay. It could be a website like what's under public domain, right? And those things can be used for commercial purposes. They absolutely can. However, you're not going to be able to upload them to something like a Redbubble or something like that. Or, excuse me, you can. You're just risking your account getting banned because that's against their terms of service. So you got to understand that there's two elements working here. If you're going to sell your products for print on demand, right? Just because that it's free doesn't mean you can actually do it. You have to check with the place that you're uploading it to. That's the first thing. The second thing is, it seems like from everything that we're reading, if you're altering these elements, whether you have a free or a pro account, let's just assume you have a pro account because that's how you would access pro graphics or pro elements, right? If you're editing these pro elements, you're making changes to them, then it seems like to me, based on the information here, that you're allowed to go ahead and tackle this and put it on your print-on-demand products and make money off of it. At least that's what it says when we went over everything in the video here. So that's all I got to say for today's video. I'm no lawyer. You guys do your own research. But there's a lot of conflicting ideas here in this Facebook post. Even somebody commented, I can't really remember who it was, but let's see where it is here. The admin turned off commenting. So these posts were there's so many comments that I guess maybe they forgot to tackle this comment section, but everybody's negating what this person is saying. And when I say everybody, I'm saying a good percentage of people. In fact, this person reached out to Canva support, right? And she says here, Starla says, this is simply not true. She says, and she shows here what the support messages back and says, you can definitely print designs on products for selling using free or pro content as long as you incorporate and combine elements, photos, text, videos, or backgrounds made in Canva's library. That way you can comply with Canva's content license agreement, which is in agreement with everything that I just said right now about what you can do. Meaning, if you alter the design, then you are allowed to use it. And let's go ahead and read what Joe answers back and says, Canva's terms of service takes legal precedence over what a support person tells you. And she's right. First of all, well, actually, that's not 100% true, because from a legal standpoint, this person is not an attorney, so I'm not sure where she's getting this information from. But if you have documentation of what the support person told you, right, then this would take over the legal precedence. And if you click on this, this is in agreement with the terms of service. I'm not sure here. It says POD sites require you to validate that you own copyright graphics you're uploading the sale. This is not possible if you're using elements that you do not own. Okay, so she's stating here in terms of the ownership. But Canva doesn't refer to ownership. Canva is referring to if it is a standalone item or if it's not a standalone item. If you're altering that image, right? If you're altering that image, that is by definition not a standalone item anymore. It is altered, right? It is an altered element, right? Because an altered image, like I said, is just taking that image and slapping it. So this person, I guess they're conflating the rights to sell versus ownership, okay? And what's important to realize here is a lot of this stuff is, at least the stuff in this post, is word for word not used in Canva's in Canva's policies. They're not. And that's just the reality of it. Now, me personally, I am going to continue using Canva for print on demand. I'm not going to sit here and act like that I'm not going to. I use many different softwares, one of those softwares being Kittle. If you're really, really scared and you don't want to use Canva, go ahead and sign up to some other software, use Kittle, whatever. But I can tell you that if you're not doing anything wrong, if you're not reselling items that are unedited, if you're using print-on-demand stuff and you're editing it in some sort of way, you're combining it in some sort of way, then guys, you're going to be pretty much fine. And also, to put things into consideration, if this information was truly true, like truly true, this section right here, where you cannot use it under any circumstance for print-on-demand, right? If that was true, then 99% of people's stuff on Redbubble would be taken down, and Redbubble as a company would be in the trash. They would be sued. They would be sued for millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. They would never be in business anymore, because pretty much every artist on Redbubble uses Canva. I'm not going to sit here and say pretty much everybody, but I'm willing to bet over 50% do. And if you look at Redbubble alone, has over 40 million designs. That's over 20 million designs that Canva technically would have legal right to. But the reality is that, once again, if you alter the element, then you are allowed to use it, at least in my opinion. And here it says, somebody answers her, okay, and says, "Hi, with due respect, don't you think a free element needs to be altered so much that no one recognizes it? Even if it is such a shape of a circle, how much can you convert those to become unrecognizable? Make a circle," and she brings up a good point here. This person says, if we take a free element like a circle or a line, how much really can you alter it for it to be unrecognizable anymore? And so what this person says here this is Joe. She says basic shapes, which is the creator of this post, basic shapes, lines, and circles don't need to be altered. You can use them without limits. Now she's creating a stipulation. She's saying, wait a minute, basic shapes, lines, and circles don't need to be altered. But it doesn't say that here. It doesn't say that in these posts that you're creating. So now what is it? Are you going to create a whole chart saying what we can and what we cannot use? Because here you're saying free or pro elements, right, cannot be. But now based on your comment here, you're saying that they can if it's a circle or if it's a line. Well, there's a lot of lines and there's a lot of circles that I've used that are both free and pro. And you're telling me that if I use it in a standalone, all of a sudden I can sell it? But here it says you cannot. So what's the deal? And here she's saying, she goes as far as saying that you don't even have to alter it. Right? Which also brings to the logical fact that if you take a circle and sell a picture of it on Redbubble, right, or any print-on-demand platform that, by the way, you took from Canva, how can Canva prove that you took it from them? That's another question. How can they prove that you took it from them? This is not AI. There's no seed technology here, right? How? So once again, guys, this is my video, not really to tell you what you can and can't do, but this is my video to tell you that this post is filled with a lot of errors and holes and legal kind of issues. If you want to have a better standing on what you can and can't do, just read the policies, read the license agreement. All right? Read the license agreement for yourself, watch this video, and hopefully you have a better understanding of what's going on. But at the end of the day, make your own decision. I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out. Bye.